All right, let's talk about something truly amazing. We're going to dive into the world of 3D printing. I mean, really demystify it, you know? We're going to show you how you can take an idea, something just floating around in your head, and turn it into a real, physical object that you can actually hold.
I mean, think about it. Ever had that flash of inspiration for a cool gadget or maybe a custom fix for something broken around the house? Or even just a fun little figure you thought of, and you just wish, man, I wish I could just make this thing real. Well, that's exactly what 3D printing is all about. And the best part? That power is way more accessible than you probably think.
So what exactly is 3D printing? It sounds complicated, but the core idea is pretty simple. It's a process that builds things, physical things, straight from a digital design. The easiest way to picture it? Imagine building something with, I don't know, thousands of paper-thin, super precise layers. They're stacked one on top of the other, layer by layer, until, poof, your object literally materializes right in front of you.
Okay, so you're ready to jump in. To start this whole creative quest, what do you actually need? Let's go over the essential starter kit.
First up, and this one's kind of obvious, you need the machine itself, the 3D printer. This is the heart of the whole operation, right? The tool that's going to turn those digital ideas into actual physical stuff.
Now, you're going to hear about a few different kinds of printers. There are things like SLA and SLS, and yeah, they're amazing for pros who need insane detail. But for us, for beginners, the choice is a no-brainer. It's FDM, which stands for Fused Deposition Modeling. They're affordable, they're way easier to get started with, and they basically work by melting a spool of plastic. It's absolutely perfect for just learning the ropes.
So if a regular printer needs ink, what does a 3D printer use? Well, it needs its own special material. We call it filament. And it just comes on a big spool, kind of like a giant roll of plastic thread that you feed right into the printer.
And yeah, just like printers, there are a bunch of different types of filament out there. But trust me on this, the one you want to start with is called PLA. It's just the easiest. It's super forgiving, it prints at lower temps, you don't always need a heated bed, and it's even made from stuff like cornstarch. It's the perfect material to start with and really build up your confidence.
Okay, so we've got the printer, we've got the filament. What's the last piece of this puzzle? It's the software. This is the crucial digital bridge, the thing that connects your idea to your printer. It's what translates your design into a language the machine can actually follow.
And, you know, the whole digital part of this sounds way more intimidating than it is. It's really just a simple three-step flow. First, you have your 3D model, that's your blueprint. Second, you run it through a program we call a slicer, which turns that blueprint into step-by-step instructions. And third, the printer just follows those instructions and builds the thing. That's it. Model, slice, print. Super straightforward.
All right, we've got the gear, so let's talk about actually preparing your first print. The best way to think about this part, it's like taking a map of where you want to go and turning it into turn-by-turn GPS directions for your printer.
So, when you're getting a print ready, you're really just dealing with two types of files. Remember that blueprint? That's your STL file. It's basically just the 3D shape of your object, nothing more. But the printer can't read that, so the slicer software takes that STL and translates it into something called G-code. And G-code, that's the real set of instructions. It's the language the printer actually understands, telling it exactly where to move, how hot to get, everything. And that slicer software, it's not just some boring converter. Think of it as your command center. It's where you get to make choices that will totally change the final print. You're in control of its strength, its weight, how detailed it is, even how long it's going to take to print.
Let's look at a couple of the biggest settings you'll be playing with. First is layer height. So you can choose a thicker layer, say 0.3 millimeters, and your print will be done way faster. But you might see the layers more. Or you could go for a super thin 0.1 millimeter layer. It'll take longer, for sure, but the finish will be smooth and super detailed. Then you've got infill. That's basically the pattern inside the object. If you're just making a little decorative thing, maybe 15% infill is totally fine. But if you need a part to be strong, you might crank that up to 50% or even higher. It's always this fun little balancing act between speed, detail, and strength.
Okay, deep breaths. You've got your gear, your files are prepped. Now for the fun part, the main event. Let's bring your first print to life.
Really, this whole thing breaks down into 5 simple steps. Step 1, get a model. Seriously, for your first go, just download a free one. Step 2, slice it. Turn that STL into G-code. Step 3, prep the printer. This is where you level the bed, so important, and you load up your PLA. Step 4, hit print. Get that file to the machine and watch the first few layers go down. It's mesmerizing. And finally, step 5, finish it up. Just let it cool down all the way before you even think about pulling it off the bed.
Now here's a really important piece of advice, okay? Your first print, it might not be perfect, and that is totally fine. It's expected. Be patient with yourself and the machine. There's a bit of a learning curve here, but I promise you, that feeling when you hold your first successful print, it makes all that tinkering completely worth it.
So what should that first project even be? My advice? Start small. Go for a quick win to build up some confidence. Print a simple keychain, or maybe a little stand for your phone. Or you could do what pretty much everyone does and print the classic test boat. It's called the 3D Benchy. These are all fast, satisfying prints that'll teach you a ton about how your printer works.
So you did it. You've made your first print. Awesome. But look, this is just the beginning of the adventure, right? The journey doesn't stop here. So let's talk about what's next.
Okay, you are going to run into problems. It's going to happen. But just think of it as part of learning the terrain. The number one most common issue you'll face, the print just won't stick to the bed. The fix? I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is re-level the bed. It is the magic bullet for so many beginner problems.
So where do you find your next great adventure? The internet is basically a giant treasure map. You've got sites like Thingiverse, which has the biggest library of free stuff. Then there's Printables, which has really high-quality, well-tested designs. And when you're ready for some super detailed things, like game miniatures, check out My Mini Factory.
And there you go. You have the tools, you have the map, you know how this works now. You've got everything you need to start this journey. So really, there's only one question left to ask. What are you going to create first?